South Carolina policeman is charged with murder for shooting an unarmed black man. The incident was caught on amateur video. The trial for suspended Senator Mike Duffy enters its second day. Duffy faces 31 charges, including bribery, fraud, and breach of trust. And suspected members of Al-Shabaab appear in court in connection with the massacre at a Kenyan university that killed 148 people. Hi, and welcome to Humber News. I'm Celia Grimbley, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. Breaking news this hour, we're standing by waiting to hear as the jury has come to a decision in the trial of Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Tsarnaev is facing 30 federal charges, of which 17 carry the death penalty. It's only taken 2 days of deliberations for the decision to come down. The defense has admitted Tsarnaev's involvement in the 2013 terrorist attack, but argued he was under duress from his brother. The jury had asked the judge to clarify some of the facts of the case before starting their second day of discussions. 3 people were killed and more than 260 wounded in the attack. Authorities in North Charleston, South Carolina are asking the community to keep calm after the latest death of an unarmed black man at the hands of a white police officer. A bystander recorded this video of an officer firing 8 shots at a man as he runs away. And we warn our viewers, the video contains graphic images of the shooting. Police have now charged 33-year-old Officer Michael Slager with the murder of 50-year-old Walter Scott because of the video. The incident followed a traffic stop in North Charleston on Saturday morning. Police say Scott was pulled over for a broken brake light. His family and protesters say they're thankful that the video exists. They say if it hadn't surfaced, the officer would not have been charged. Here at home, disgraced Senator Mike Duffy is in court for the second day of his trial, facing 31 charges of fraud, bribery, and breach of trust. Today's session is expected to focus on the rules of the Senate. Duffy represented Prince Edward Island and he claimed more than $90,000 in living expenses. But prosecutors say his primary residence was in Ottawa and he defrauded the Canadian government with these expense accounts. Neighbors say the senator was rarely at his home in PEI. The Crown is also questioning what the Prime Minister and his staff knew about the whole affair. 6 suspected members of the militant group Al-Shabaab are in Kenyan court today. The men were arrested in connection with a massacre at Garissa University last week. 148 were killed in the attack at the school. The state prosecutor says the police have strong leads connecting the suspects to the attack as well as the militant group. The accused are to be held in custody for 30 days while the investigation is completed. The attack on the university sparked protests in Nairobi, with citizens of both Kenya and Somalia taking to the streets to condemn Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab militants have killed over 400 Kenyans since April 2013. Fresh airstrikes are pounding Yemen today as the Saudi-led coalition renews its assault on Houthi rebels. Warplanes targeted the country's capital and a communications center and gas plant in the north. Yemen has spiraled into turmoil since rebels backed by Iran took power over much of the country back in September. The airstrikes are now in their 3rd week as the coalition continues to target rebels loyal to Yemen's previous president. Western and Arab world leaders, meanwhile, are calling for a pause in the conflict. They want access for humanitarian aid as well as the opening of a diplomatic dialogue between the warring factions. The UN says more than 500 people were killed and 1,700 wounded during the first 2 weeks of fighting. They say 74 of the dead were children. A somber anniversary to mark the Rwandan genocide that killed over 800,000 men and women and children is marking its 21st anniversary. The 1994 genocide took place in Rwanda over the span of 100 days. Rwandan President Paul Kagame led a ceremony where wreaths were laid and the flame of remembrance was lit. Kagame says it's important to remember those who died in the genocide and the strength of the nation. The genocide began when the majority Hutus targeted the minority Tutsi population, blaming them for the country's social, economic, and political problems. The next 100 days will continue with memorial events until July 4th. To Moscow now, where the leaders of Russia and Greece are in talks about how their governments can help each other. Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras met with Vladimir Putin to discuss his country's future within the Eurozone. The struggling Greek economy has been hit hard by austerity measures implemented by the European Union, and Athens is running out of cash. The two leaders talked about economic opportunities, primarily Greece's involvement in a pipeline that will transport natural gas from Russia to Europe. To Chicago now, where voters in Illinois' biggest city are sending Rahm Emanuel back to office for another 4 years as mayor. But it's not going to be an easy ride. The race was closer than the one-time Obama chief of staff would have liked. The 6-week campaign became a symbol for the national divide between the party's moderates and its hardliners. The Windy City is on the brink of financial collapse and has been plagued by violent crime. The city has a debt of more than $21 billion and is facing $550 million hike in pension payments for emergency workers. Moody's has dropped Chicago's credit rating to near junk status as the city's huge deficit has become a growing concern for investors. We'll have more stories coming up after the break, and Claire Jenkins will have your 3-day forecast.
Rain and clouds is what we'll be seeing for the next few days, but at some high degrees. We'll have your 3-day forecast coming up.
But first, with less than 2 weeks until her due date, Kate Middleton is still wowing the fashion world with her style. Throughout her 8-month pregnancy, the Duchess has been a style superstar and has kept up public appearances. She's been seen in everything from Jimmy Choo heels to a Cartier necklace.
Through her maternity, she's always incredibly stylish and chic.
Her second baby is due April 20th, but could be born as early as the 15th.